Hello, this is Liz Calandrino from Women of the Flooring Business. And today I'm so excited to have Paul Trainer, the Senior Manager of Content and Community for the International Surfaces event. We call that TICE. And Paul's going to talk about what, if you're going to the show, maybe the first time, or maybe it's not even the first time, but he's going to tell you what's going on at the show and how you can benefit from the show. Now, Paul is you're no stranger to the floor covering industry, right? Apparently, your first gig was with the WFCA, the World Floor Covering Association, which was the previous owner of Surfaces. And so you've been around a long time. So tell us a little bit about yourself and why flooring is your thing.
Oh, I love it when they say you've been around a very long time because it has been a very long time. It's catching up to me. Thank you for having me here. Hello, Liz. I'm delighted to be here with you. I did start my career in the floor covering industry right out of, in the trade show industry, allied to the floor covering industry via World Floor Covering Association, straight out of college. First job started as a temp, and then it turned into a permanent gig as the trade show coordinator of Surfaces, which eventually sold to Hanley Wood in 2000. And when they sold the show, it was buy a trade show, get a trade show coordinator free. I felt like most. And I went to Dallas to work at Hanley Wood. And that's what brought me into the trade show world and what also introduced me to the floor covering industry. So it was learning all the names of the various vendors and a lot of attendees and building up those skills as I ramped up my career.
Well, you're in charge of the educational part of the show. And I'm wondering, what's it like to put that together? I mean, when do you even start to think about this? Like, what's the extent of it?
Ideally, we have a full 1 year planning cycle. That's how I say Surfaces. See, it still comes out of my mouth. It is TICE, but I came into it and it was Surfaces, and then eventually Stone Expo and Tile Expo came to life, and the three shows came to become TICE. So if I drop the Surfaces name, it's not to exclude Stone Expo or Tile Expo. It's just how many years later I'm still dropping that name. The planning phase usually starts in the spring. We like to get things going pretty quickly after the last event, so we will have a chance to look at evaluations and comments from attendees and exhibitors, take all that into account, and then pull together our first advisory council meeting. And that's what really starts the process. And I don't use a call for presenters or a call for speakers. What I like to do personally is build out the content based on feedback from the advisory council and having talks with attendees and people I trust and speakers like yourself who have ears to the ground far closer than what I've got and can tell me what is on the minds of our attendees, the retailers, the showroom managers, the fabricators, the tile distributors, all the people that come to our programs, get their lay of the land, and then start building out a program. Once we've built out the program, then go in and layer in the speakers. So that way it answers the needs of the audience much deeper than just getting a load of sessions that have been submitted by speakers and trying to pick a menu out of that and build something interesting. So this really is an attendee driven program, and that is the structure. And then once we come from the spring and get into summer, then we'll start locking down the schedules, because registration usually goes live somewhere around Labor Day. And then once we get through into October, that's when all the pieces start getting pulled together with bios, headshots, getting all the pieces put into place, rooms, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I've been honored to be on the advisory committee, educational committee for years. And I find it very interesting when you start bringing in all the information that you picked up from people who are at the show. And so if anybody's going to the show, please give us your comments, because it's really very, very helpful. And the fact that you pick, I find it interesting. I think many years ago, they often picked the speakers before they picked the what we were going to talk about. And I can imagine what kind of problems that poses for you. But it's great the way you do it now. We get to look at what do people want, what's new out there, and then you figure out how people fit in there.
Exactly. Find the topics first, and then you can usually find the expert to fit that topic. And just as you said, attendees' feedback really, really matters to us. And you might hear a few things that just come up onesie twosies, but eventually you will see a thread of generalities about certain topics where everyone's concerned right now: hiring, firing, retaining employees, mostly on the retaining side of things. Staffing up is really, really a big issue. That's Stone Expo, Surfaces, Tile Expo side. Everyone's got that same issue. So when you see commonalities and feedback, that's where you can find the biggest needs and the things that we need to answer and solve for our attendees in the conference program.
Well, let's get right into it. What do people need to do in order to get the most out of this show? I mean, give us some general ideas about how does that work?
The show is big. It takes all of the Mandalay Bay lower section. Mandalay Bay has multiple floors. We take that ground level practically from side to side. So it is a very large amounts of space to walk and prepare for. So if you're a new attendee or even a returning attendee, I always suggest take a look at the floor plan. Go online first, see who is exhibiting. Find out what are the companies that you're most interested in. You probably want to have a game plan of what you want to achieve from the event. Are you trying to cement your current suppliers? Are you trying to find new suppliers? Once you've found all those key interests, then you can go into the floor plan, find those exhibitors and vendors that match your needs, whether you're trying to find a new tile line or you're trying to add in a business service like an accounting process or any range of products. Once you know what you want, then you can find those exhibitors, build out a plan so that way you know who you want to see. You can reach out in advance. You can make contact with the exhibitors before you even get to the show and schedule times. And that is really critical, as we have seen now from the June event. A lot of our exhibitors are scheduling time. You may not be able to just walk into an exhibitor's booth and be able to meet your rep or get a rep. Obviously, they want to get through as many people as they possibly can. But with COVID and timing restrictions, they're just really trying to make sure that they can go and get as many people face to face as they possibly can in an orderly manner, not just have throngs of people crowding through a space. So reach out to the exhibitors and schedule those appointments. Obviously, you can drop by at site as well and make those first initial contacts or find your suppliers and reps that may be assigned to your accounts. You can also go and look at our TIE seminars and on the education page of the website. We've got 3 days of seminars, which are returning for the upcoming 2022 event. We did not do them at the June event just because of bringing shows back to life. We wanted to keep everything on the expo floor very tight and concise. But we are going to be doing hour-long sessions in the breakout rooms, as we've done in the past, formerly called Converge. We have portioned out the programming, so there is a kind of a Surfaces track, a Stone Expo track, and a Tile Expo track. And Elizabeth is going to be speaking in the Surfaces track herself. So you will have the opportunity to go and purchase sessions by the day. And it's nice to be able to layer those in. We start Monday, January 31st, so you can take a look at the pre-show days or on the mornings from 8 to 12 on the first 2 days of the event. We've also got a lot of other activities in there, including special events with networking receptions. Women in Stone has their amazing race. There's all sorts of extracurricular activities to do during the show and even after the show. So take a very good look, spend some time in advance, kind of get your bearings, and then you'll have your best chance at really making it a productive event.
Can you talk a little bit about the 31st? This is like pre-show, right?
Correct.
And what we're doing with women, because that's pretty exciting.
There, thank you for bringing that up. Monday the 31st is a pre-show day. So the show opens Tuesday, February 1st. On Monday, January 31st, with TICE seminars launching from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., we're also going to be producing the very first inaugural edition of the Women's Leadership Conference. And that is a program for women, by women. It is going to run 1 to 5 p.m. It's in the same section of the meeting rooms that we do the TICE seminars, so it'll be really easy to find. The program is going to have it's going to have networking opportunities, so you'll be able to meet new and maybe sometimes even old friends. You'll also have the opportunities to partake in 2 panel sessions plus a featured speaker. So the programming is really designed and built around the topics that women want to embrace and use in their own leadership capabilities, as well as bring into their companies. So we'll be talking about mentoring programs and having a mentor and being a mentor, and how that can really increase the effectiveness of your own organization. We'll be talking about leadership skills in general. And then we also have our featured speaker who's going to be talking about personality types. So not just your business relationships, but your personal relationships and the people around you, how to understand and I don't want to necessarily say cope, but be able to interact and maximize the best relationships with all the various different personality types that are out there.
In the last few years, you've done a virtual show also, and we're doing it again this year, right? We're going to record some of the things.
Yes.
Tell us about that, how it works, and how come how come you started that?
Great question. It's something that trade show organizers have been wanting to do for a very, very long time. Before the word COVID ever even came into the lexicon in 2020, organizers were trying to take their events from a 3, 4, 5-day show, however long their events are, and make them into a year-round event. How do you take the TICE brand from 3 days and keep it on top of mind? Because if you go and look at internet searches for shows and events like ours, it's quiet. It's literally flatline, and then it kind of slips up. And as you get closer to the show, it lifts up even higher and it pinnacles, and then it goes back down. And what we want to do is obviously lift that curve and keep it up instead of having it constantly flatline back down to the bottom while you're in the organizing planning phase. And TICE is trying to do that as well. It brought it on much quicker because of COVID. Organizers could not put on a live event. You couldn't do in person for most regions. Some a little more relaxed than others. California is one of the strictest. We're still not in a time where we can have large multi-person events. So the hybrid was the answer. They call them virtual or hybrid events. And what we did is when we did our TICE Live June event back in June 2021, we wanted to give people the opportunity to partake and be involved in the event without necessarily having to travel. And there's a lot of people too that don't have the approval from their bosses, or just for time or money can't make it to the event. And this is a solution that will allow all attendees to be able to participate in an event like TICE. And what we will be doing is we have a group of sessions that are on the main stage on the expo floor called the TICE Live main stage. Those sessions are going to be pre-recorded. We get them edited, packaged up real nicely. When the speakers go live on the main stage, let's say noon on the first day, we will push out that pre-recorded session at the exact same time. So the virtual attendees are getting the same instruction as the in-person attendees. might change up a little bit depending upon the speaker, and maybe something a little different might be added, but it's an opportunity to be able to participate in TICE without having to actually be present at the event, which before 2020 would have been required. If it was such an ephemeral event, you had to be there to experience it, or otherwise it was just lost. So the best thing about the virtual hybrid event is those pre-recorded sessions also go into on demand. So even if you can't be there at 12 o'clock on Tuesday, those recordings slip into an on demand. So let's say it's Wednesday, Thursday, or 4 months later, you hear about Liz Calandrino's doing the Red Hot customer experience. You can go back in and find that video and catch that 30-minute presentation from Liz or all the other speakers that are doing the TICE Live main stage sessions.
How does that work in terms of paying? The educational piece? Could you yeah.
So the TICE Live virtual can be purchased just as a regular registration pass. And what that will get you is you'll be able to interact and see the products that the exhibitors, there's a trade show element that's added to it. And you can see the new products being released, news releases, videos that the exhibitors are doing. And you'll also be able to be there for the TICE Live main stage sessions. Demo stages will also be recorded and will be available about 24 hours after the original recording. Takes some time to get those videos all made nice and shiny and bright. And those are all being broadcast via the TICE Facebook page.
Oh, nice. So now technology has really made a lot of things easier. And I'm thinking, how do you bring the trade show back to your team? I notice a lot of people go to the show. They don't bring anybody with them, but if you can bring somebody with you, bring them. But if you can't, how about some live stream from the show? You got some ideas about that? Can we do video from the show? What do you think?
And everyone can do much better on that. Everyone usually kind of has that same strategy. That the idea is to go and grab pictures, take videos, take notes, and you bring everything back and share everything with the team. Usually there's a breakdown somewhere there. Life gets in your way and nothing actually gets back. It's not anyone's fault. It's just the way life usually works. So my suggestion is, while you're at the show, take lots of pictures. Take a picture of everything. So long as you've got enough room to hold them on your phone or put them on the web, you can always delete them later. But the beautiful thing about it is you can't have enough pictures. And videos, yeah, it takes a lot more room, but getting some good videos, whether it's a speaker on the main stage, always ask permission first. Or if you're in an exhibitor booth and they're doing a demonstration, do ask permission. It's a good idea. And then you'll be able to share much more robust information back with your team from all the things you're seeing. Maybe it's something fun, maybe it's something entertaining, maybe it's something instructional, maybe it's just glimpses of what it's like to be at the show, walking down the central corridor into the exhibit hall, and just kind of the splendor of it. I still love that moment when you get through the front doors and there's just this temporary world that's been built for you to experience the best in the floor covering industry. The other big part of that is the more assets and the more collateral you collect for yourself, the more you'll be able to obviously share back with your team, but you can also take those things and use them on your own social media channels. You can go back to your own community and say, maybe it's one, maybe it's two people from your retail shop or your stone store or your fabrication shop. You can go back to your own audience and say, here's the best and the greatest things that we saw when we were at the event for trade only, called this International Surface Event, or if you want to call it Surfaces Stone Expo or Tile Expo, that's cool too. And just give your audience and the people that shop your store and your favorite clients some interesting things that they don't have access to. The public can't just show up and come to the show. It is for trade only. So if you'll be able to see the latest and greatest products and be able to share that back with your audience, which makes you the expert in the community.
I'm thinking one of the things that I do is I collect the magazines. I mean, there's like probably right 15, when I say 15, probably 30, 40 magazines, and there's all kinds of press releases. What I do is I get them in a box and I take them over to FedEx, which is in the building, and I just send it home.
Great
Easiest
idea.
easiest thing to do. And this way, when you get home, you can have your own little trade show if you want. Maybe you invite interior designers in, right? Maybe you invite realtors in, but you invite them in and you, like I said, you do your own trade show and you get to share what you've learned at the show. What do you think? How many people you think we're going to be there? I don't think people really know how big Tice is. I feel the same way you do. I go in there and I swear it brings tears to my eyes. I say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be part of, this."
Yeah. How many people do I wish I had the crystal ball for that one. It's hard to predict on the best days and the best years. Right now, it's really, really hard to guess. If I had that, I would be a very rich man right now. The show usually attracts numbers 20 to 25,000, 30,000 people. It's a small city all unto itself in this one little area, Mandalay Bay. It's hard to expect. I wish I could give you a sense. I really don't have a good, clear picture of where things are going to go. It could. I don't think it'll be on the scope of a 2019, 2020 when we had 20,000 plus people at the event. It'll probably be smaller. How much smaller is anybody's game?
Well,
That's
I just wanted you to
yes.
kind of talk about it because, we talk about it's a big show. Is that 100 people? No, we're talking 15, 20,000 plus
Yeah.
the exhibitors.
Yeah.
So and that's why it's really critical to make those appointments with
Right.
whomever you want to see, because the exhibitors are there to do business. That's what they're there for, right? And make
Yes.
money and make sure that they have talked to the right people. So
Exactly. And the
that,
people that are showing up, that is one thing that we noticed from June to previous events is the attendee base that shows up now are diehard attendees. They are
serious.
attendees that are there for business. Obviously, they've got a plan, they've got a mission, and the exhibitors really do appreciate that as well. You're not getting tire kickers, people that are just kind of sniffing around, not necessarily trying to waste your time, but the people that are showing up and want to talk with you have some serious business that they're planning to do. So that is a really good thing that comes out of it. And just to give another sense, and team, please forgive me if I'm wrong. I think I heard the last number was over 400,000 or approaching 400,000 square feet of exhibit space. It's big.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's important for people to know, like, not all of the reps will be there. They bring the serious reps there. I mean, when you walk in there, those are people there to do business. And, not only at a lot of the booths have a lot of more interesting things going on, right? Sometimes they have their own presentations. Maybe there's an installation presentation. We've got some HGTV folks that will be there, right?
Yep.
And so was it two chicks and a hammer? Will
That
be
sounds right.
right. They're going to be at Carandine. So not only is this, a show with just products, interior, lots of interior designers, architects. I mean, this is a first class show. Like I said, I go in and I have like little tears that I'm part of this. I'm still part of this event, and it means a lot to me. Could you just talk a little bit about safety for women? And this is Las Vegas, and there's definitely a lot of craziness out there.
What? Las Vegas crazy?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, safety and security is always at the forefront of Informa events. We have an entire book that we call Informa All Secure, and it's not just health; it is literally safety. How do we ensure our attendees are accounted for and safe? We have staff have training about emergency plans and where central points are, that if we're going to be emergency and we have to evacuate the building. There's all sorts of very thought out and well-planned security and safety measures that starts from Informa, working in conjunction with Mandalay Bay and the city of Las Vegas and the county. But obviously, first and foremost right now on everyone's mind is COVID and health and safety measures. The city of Las Vegas and Clark County, which Las Vegas is in, all have a mask mandate. Masks are required. So if you are in interiors, whether it's a casino, restaurants, convention centers, you have to have a mask. We recommend people be vaccinated, but it's not required. And we are having multiple hand sanitizing stations. We are trying to do as much as we possibly can to keep exposure down to a minimum, safe distancing, trying to move people through a registration system, whether you want a hard copy badge or if you want to go digital. I think this year, team's probably going to slap my hands on this one. I think we are going back to badges, but we're trying to make it as little contact as possible and having multiple registration points. So not everyone has to cram into one small area at the same exact time and everyone's trying to get through the show on the first day.
I've always managed to lose my cell phone at least once at a Tice show. And the reason I wanted you to talk about security is because I always got it back. And part of it was because of the security in the show and the people in the hotel. They take, Las Vegas is a trade show, the trade show capital, right? And
yes.
So they're set up for that. There's always people around to talk to. If you get lost, you want to know where to go eat, whatever. But the people in the hotel, the security in the hotel is very serious and very, very helpful. So, if something happens and you lose something and you need to find it, and we can always find show people there, right? You guys are all there.
Yes. And we also bring in a crew of temporary staff. You'll see them in shirts. They usually are holding big signs that say, ask me questions or ask me anything, and make themselves very out there. So that way we have people constantly trying to help you find your way, figure out what's going next, because it is an massive amount of space. And you'll see security there frequently. It's not uncommon that they will come through with dogs and they're looking for packages that have been left behind. They're looking for anything that looks out of the ordinary, as well as just the security that runs behind the entire operation. So security is always top of mind. The wonderful thing about Tice, and I know a lot of women have extra precautions that they want to take in security, is when you're in Mandalay Bay, you're in a little bubble. You're not having to go out unless you choose to go out. You can eat on property, drink on property, meet on property. You never have to go outside of the bubble, and everything is self-contained, and heaven knows how many eyes in the sky there are in that casino, in the hotel. So it's not like you're having to go across town to this event and then come back and go over here. Everything is self-contained. So there is added security that you're not going to have to interface outside of the convention center or the property itself. It's a added benefit for this type of trade show.
Yes, and you always have the most wonderful people, your temps, nice temps, always really, really nice people. The other thing I just kind of wanted to throw in that CVS in Las Vegas has a doctor on staff. So if you get sick, you can go to CVS, because I managed to get sick at one of the shows and I was out and I needed something and I went to the CVS and they said, we have a doctor here. So, she was really a doctor. I mean, I said, can't you come home and be my primary care doctor? I mean, gosh, you're really nice. So, like I said, the city is set up. This is a trade show city. They take it all seriously. It's a fun place to be. And, the show that you put on, really, really, it says that, and right. So people, if you're coming and this is your first time out, you've never been to a big, don't worry about it. I mean,
and fingers crossed, everyone stays healthy and everything goes well. But if you are if you need to travel and you have to have a COVID test, or you just want to take precautions, there is a testing center in the Mandalay Bay shops, which run between Mandalay Bay and Luxor. You can find more information about that on the Tice website. I believe it is drop-in or appointment. I think there is a small fee that is applied to it. I don't think it's free, but you can get those rapid tests done if you require it to return home, or just if you want to have peace of mind. There is that option.
And maybe they ought to bring 2 pairs of shoes. I always put an extra pair of shoes in my roller bag because it's a, there's a lot of carpeted space, but maybe you bring an extra pair of shoes. Maybe you bring, make sure you get extra water or carry a protein bar with you.
Yes. My trick for shoes is to change your shoes at least once throughout the day. It makes all the difference in the world. I think it's just having a different set of shoes and your feet get a different feel. It just makes them a little bit less fatigued. And I have seen a big change in trade shows and conferences. I've seen pictures coming out of Europe, which are always, when you see European trade shows, everyone is dressed to the nines, and women in heels and men in their dress shirts and suits. And they have become much more relaxed. If you look at recent pictures from some of the European trade shows and international trade shows, men are in nice shoes, but probably much more sport sneaker style. And women are not wearing heels. You see a lot of boots, you see a lot of flats, and don't feel bad about having to wear heels at the show. Everyone is that might be one positive effect, is more sensible shoes are being worn at trade shows. And I'm the first one to commit that offense, and we'll be doing it again, I guarantee you, as of the first day. So switch out your shoes, bring a second pair of shoes, or run up to your room at the halftime and swap out your shoes. Carry lots of water. It's a dry environment. Even though it's in the winter, it's still very, very dry. So lots of water, and always have a snack on you, because there's a lot of food options. We do have concession stands, but sometimes you can't make it away, or you're involved in something else. So just having that protein bar, small bag of nuts, candy bar, whatever makes you happy, gets you over those little hurdles.
And we talk about, when should you go eat? Don't worry about it. There's no such thing as an off hour to go eat. If you want to make reservations to go eat, you better do it, because you just won't get in, and there's lots and lots of people. If you get up in the morning, the Starbucks line is about 8 miles long from where I am. I go out that way and I go, oh no, you just can't get in here. So, and keeping yourself hydrated and feeling good makes the whole show better for you.
Absolutely. The Starbucks line, especially as you're exiting from Mandalay Bay Hotel into the convention center, and it's all just one long walkway. And if anyone's new, or if you have seen it, you know what I'm talking about. The line just stretches on forever, and they're the loveliest staff, but they are like molasses on a winter morning. Oh, it takes forever. So plan accordingly if you want Starbucks.
Right, plan about. Now, can we just bring in your side? Can we put in your side hustle here a minute? You want to talk a little bit about Pilates, because we have a lot of people who are taking your virtual classes online. I hope I'm in almost good enough shape to go take them. So how about a plug for that too, Paul?
Always. Thank you very much. Since we brought it up, I'll weave it into the story of trade shows. Stretch and exercise if you can. Mandalay Bay has a exercise facility that's reopened. It's a very nice facility, very clean, very well maintained. Everything is kept safe and secure for the guests. Take advantage of it. Being able to at least move and stretch at the start of things, or taking a moment while you're at the show. I know it may sound crazy and people will probably look at you like you've lost your mind, but doing some stretching will probably help keep those hamstrings from tightening up, Charlie horses from coming in the middle of the night, all those types of things. It also helps keep me focused and in the best frame of mind, as if I can have a workout at the start of my morning. So thank you. Yes, I do have a Pilates program. I'm a certified instructor, in case anyone's wondering, and you could ask me later. I'll hook you up with that website.
It just came across right underneath you. There's Pilates, online Pilates mat class. It's right there. People can sign up. You need to sign up and stay healthy. Just so people know, we have floor covering exhibitors there, but there's lots of other things too, right, Paul? We're like off into 30 minutes here, but talk about some other things that are there. Like we're looking at machinery, equipment. There's all kinds of other things.
Yeah.
And the installation stuff that's going on.
Yeah, so I can give a bigger, rounder view of the event as a whole. On the surfaces side, we have the installation competition finals. We had 16 competitors come out into the June event who are 8 people competing in a resilient category, 8 people competing in a carpet category. 4 were selected, and they are being brought out courtesy of Tights to compete for the national competition winner. 1 person will be selected from each of those categories, and they will be doing a written exam on Monday, and then they go into their work orders on Tuesday and Wednesday. You can watch them progress. It's fascinating to see these craftsmen and women doing their best work. It is notoriously difficult. It has very complex challenges added into each one of those segments. And it's fun just to drop in and come back every couple hours to kind of see how everything's progressing and how things are moving. We will have the winner's announcement on the Tights Live main stage on Thursday at 10 a.m. In addition to that, Tile Expo has a certification program going. It's a day-long certification. They only have opportunities for 2 people, but they will be doing a certification program for these 2 individuals on Wednesday from the start of the show to the end of the show. And you can visit them right near the NTCA booth. It is the CTEF booth in Tile Expo. And they are going to be doing tile installation, not necessarily demonstration. These guys and women are going to have to actually do a work project building out a tile program. So that will be exciting to watch. And then on the Stone Expo side of things, we have the Stone Theater in the Stone Expo section of the floor. That is with the Natural Stone Institute. And they will be doing instructional education from the Stone Theater. The exhibitors all come into each of their shows with their own equipment. Stone Expo has fabrication equipment, things that cut stones. I know just enough of it to be dangerous, but diamond blade saws, band saws, and these machines that can pick up entire slabs of stone, get it onto this machine, and the water cuts it and makes etches and cuts out customized fabrication. Those are all really fun, fascinating things to watch. And then, of course, all sorts of demonstrations being done in the booths at the association partners like NTCA and NSI, but also in the exhibitors' booths themselves. Lots of those companies are doing their demonstrations. So there's lots of things to sit down and watch, and that's where time just flies. Is you find something and you watch it, and all of a sudden an hour's blown, and got to hustle to the next thing. So,
and it's Thursday. We had a question about getting people's names and collect. Should we be collecting business cards, or can we scan? How can we do that?
So every attendee's badge is going to have a QR code. I think we're using QR codes now. The exhibitors can scan those and collect the badges and the information. So that way, when you go to meet your exhibitor and you want specific information, they can collect that information, make notes about exactly what you're looking for, and then contact you post-show to make sure they get you the inquiry information that you're looking for. I don't believe that there's an opportunity for attendees to scan other people's badges. So it's always a very smart idea to come in with a big old handful of cards, because you will be passing those around. If passing and trading cards doesn't sound like a good idea, it's not something you want to do, I always think the next best thing is to have your LinkedIn code. Take a screenshot of that and ready. So that way, all you have to do is always pull that up. You can scan other people's LinkedIn codes and you can make connections via LinkedIn. It's a wonderful way to do it if you don't want to necessarily pass around cards.
Oh, that's really a great idea.
Yeah.
Is there anything you like to say about, we should have fun. I think that's the other thing, but you've spoken a lot about what's going on. People really need to be organized if they're
Yes.
going to get anything done, because like you said, you could be watching something, you'll watch an installation that's going on in the booth, and it's 3 hours later, you forgot an appointment, you missed an appointment, everybody's gone home, and Thursday's pretty much, you better hustle on Thursday because people, right?
Yes.
The show is over at 2, right? On Thursday?
That sounds correct. So you're going to want to set appointments. Make appointments on your own calendar on your phones. So that way, if there's something that you really want to see, it'll trigger and jog your memory, giving yourself 30 minutes. Always try to give yourself a little extra time because finding your way through the exhibit hall can be a challenge. One, just to try to find the booth. Number two, the distractions, the things that are constantly coming up.
Right?
Yep, happens every time. Let alone if it's a meeting in one of the meeting rooms, because then you're going to have to go off the expo floor down to the North Convention Center, or sometimes up to the 3rd floor, depending upon where the meeting room is, and that takes more time. So everything is a walk.
There are plenty of
bathrooms. A lot of pedometer miles on that one.
Right. There are plenty of bathrooms. You probably should just know where they are, because sometimes they are way over there, right? And the same thing with the food. So, you want to, like you said, want to keep yourself hydrated, fed, and, there are probably lots of events at night that you can go to. So you want to check with your favorite manufacturers, whomever, get yourself invited. You may have already been invited, but maybe not. There are a lot of things that manufacturers have off-show premises too, right? So There's so many things that you could go to.
And this year we are hosting for the first time, a first-timers reception to help acquaint attendees and get them, I guess the word is, more comfortable with the show. It's always more challenging when you go to shows or events and you don't know anyone and you see everyone else is hugging and greeting each other, and it's like a great big party and you're just kind of standing there at the side. And this is one way of helping bring those new people into the show, have them make some valuable new contacts right from the start, and get some tips to kind of build out and make the best of the show.
Yeah, I think just remembering that this is a trade show, there's no consumers there. And so everybody who is there is doing business. And so the more things you can set up ahead of time, the better you're going to feel. You're going to feel more like you belong, right?
Correct.
If you've got people to see and things to do.
Exactly.
Well, it's been terrific. Is there anything you want to add to this? It's
No.
around the corner.
It is. I'm trying not to think about that. No, there's a lot of excitement that's built up. I'm in constant contact with speakers. Obviously, that's my job. And there's a lot of excitement around the speakers. I'm getting frequent phone calls from attendees who are asking questions and just wanting to feel secure. And we are doing everything in our power, working with county regulations and CDC guidance to make sure everyone stays safe and healthy. That's our foremost thoughts, and really building and bringing everyone back to the industry. That's what we're most excited about, and can't wait to share it all with everyone.
I was there in June, and, again, I felt safe. I knew, everybody was doing what they needed to do. So, I think it's time for us to come out, and be there.
Right. And as we know, a lot of companies in this industry were considered essential. So business hasn't stopped, and business is going very, very well for retailers, which have now reopened if they weren't already, as well as for the vendors. And it's an opportunity to stay safe, but still get business done, because that's what we hear over and over again is this event is important to be able to do and properly execute businesses in the floor covering industry for floor covering retailers, showrooms, the vendors, the stone distributors, the fabricators, the tile distributors, manufacturers, importers, and the installers. Everyone has been wanting to come back, and this is something we're very excited to bring back to life.
Now, how can we get a hold of you, Paul, if we need you?
If you're at show site, I am frequently anywhere there's some sort of education, whether it's TICE seminars in the North Convention Center, in the Islander ballrooms, or at the main stage, or at the demo stage. If I'm not there, someone that is tied to me is going to be there, and you can leave a message with any of them, or leave a message with our TICE seminars lounge manager, who is an Islander D, if memory serves me correctly, in the North Convention Center. You can always reach out to me via email as well, paul.trainer@informa.com.
So for those of you that hopefully maybe did just show up, this is being recorded so that you can go listen to it, watch it. I'm talking with Paul Trainer, who is the Senior Manager of Content and Community for the International Surfaces Show, which is TICE, which composes more than just carpeting. You know, we've got all kinds of stuff there. Anyway, and don't forget that on Monday there is from 1 to 5, right, Paul? There is the Women's Leadership, which is brand new. Maybe you just want to give us one more shout out for that, because that's pretty exciting for us.
It is. Women's Leadership Conference will be 1 to 5 on Monday, January 31st. It is a separate registration over and above the ticket pass, and it is for women, by women, and it's going to be encapsulating all the key leadership skills and practices to improve our own leadership skills, as well as bring those leadership effectiveness back into our own organizations. Men are welcome. Male allies are definitely welcome. It is not just for women, but it will be all women on the stage.
Thank you so much, Paul. We'll see you shortly.
Absolutely. I'll see you soon. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks.